Welcome back to Sci-Fi Book Trek. Today we'll be giving a review of Stephen Cole's 10 Little Aliens. This book is, of course, the Doctor Who franchise, and it stars the first Doctor and his assistants, Holly and Ben. As far as canon, it is between the two sort of story segments, Smugglers and the 10th Planet. So it's between those two. Technically, there isn't a gap between them, although this story has been spliced in. But yeah, other than that, I think that about covers the start of the book. We'll go on to the author section.
Our author, Stephen Cole, was born in 1971 in rural Bedfordshire and attended the University of East Anglia, where he studied English literature and film studies. Worked for a brief time for BBC Radio Bedfordshire before moving to the BBC Children's Magazine section, and worked his way up to group editor of preschool magazines in 1996. Wrote his first set of children's books in that summer that would be published the following year. After a successful career with various BBC departments, he left BBC Worldwide in the October of 1999, where he moved to Ladybird Books as a managing editor. He continued to write for TV and film tie-in projects before becoming fully freelance in 2002.
Yes, Stephen has previously done a number of Doctor Who stories and has gone on to do a number of Doctor Who stories, as well as his children's books he's done. So he knows about. He's been steeped in the Doctor Who lore.
He's been steeped in the Doctor Who mythos for a good percentage of his life as a fan.
And he's previously used in a short anthology story the two companions and what became of them later on after they've left the Doctor. He did a short story some years prior to this.
Yes, but he did start a lot of his Doctor Who work doing tie-ins for the 8th Doctor,
yes,
which was part of the 96 film.
Yes, the movie series, which never took off because I don't think they could get American backing. So anyway, we'll go on to publication year.
So, 2002, our publication year.
Yep.
Would you like to start?
I can do. Well, the first one would be the first euro he's minted. The first coins come into circulation.
Yes.
So, the European currency, if you've got any, then it started it was first launched in 2002.
Yes. With all currencies from European countries that bought into the euro, their currencies actually went out of date in February 28th of that year.
Yes, which would be about a month after.
So our next, or at least my next topic on the list, is a sovereignty referendum that took place in Gibraltar, with the Gibraltar residents refusing Spanish sovereignty, choosing instead to remain glorious citizens of the British Crown.
You've got a sword, rattle it now.
I was trying to find something on Argentina as well, but
it's called Falkland Islands. I'll get it for you. Now, the other thing of note that year, Avril Lavigne's debut album was released. It was called Let Go.
You're going to make me go and look for flipping complicated and put that into the...
It was the first released single from that album. I think Skater Boys was second.
Mm.
We'll go on to
Movies?
movies and games.
Yes. In fact, games being the new one that we factored in because, hey, I can actually do it this time. So, published this year in video games, Grand Theft Auto Vice City hit the stores.
Will you be working for my father?
Maybe.
Do you mind me resting my hand in your lap?
Maybe.
And apparently they're going back to it in the next installment, which is Grand Theft Auto 6.
Whenever that comes out. But I'm sure it'll be mostly online. For movies that came out this year, I'll go with Equilibrium. Great silly movie.
Isn't that the one with all the gun kata?
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great silly movie.
If you say so, I quite like that type.
Oh, no. It is brilliant. It's just silly. It's like, if you think about it for any more than like a millisecond, the whole plot structure falls down. But don't. It's gun kata. It's fun. Do you want to do one more?
Yeah, video and release this year, Super Mario Sunshine.
Ah, nice.
Which sees Mario using a hose to clean off all of a shit-covered town. You want me to
make
take
jokes?
that again?
No, that's fine. I was going to... And we'll end it with...
Mario visits Grimsby.
No. The only Richard Gere film I have ever seen. The Mothman Prophecies.
I haven't seen that.
You haven't lived.
I mean, I haven't seen several films that you subscribe to, so...
But anyway, on to Inside the Book. Right then, now this book starts with the first Doctor and his assistants, Polly and Ben, getting off into a sort of, at first, a place without oxygen. They get in spacesuits, go out, and they find they're in a dusty room with a load of grotesque, dead, frozen aliens all about.
Everybody's dead, Dave.
They then meet up with a group of 10 humans from the Human Empire.
For the Emperor!
Who have gone to this planetoid
As a
on a
training,
training
yeah.
mission.
And that's the initial setup and basis of the what's to come.
I mean, we are introduced to the 10 soldiers before the Doctor actually gets involved.
Yes.
And, I mean, to start off with that element of it, that, to me, felt like a completely different book.
I think there are parts in this which feel completely different, and also the story that is being told sort of doesn't need the Doctor.
I mean,
and it shows in places.
You could argue that, yeah. See, for me, I think the best Doctor Who stories, me personally, I think the best Doctor Who stories are where we learn things about the Doctor through the character interactions of the companions. Ben is more of your active character. He's actively changing things that he doesn't like. Holly provides a lot more of the emotional element, the sort of the character relationships and building up rapport between the different characters within the book. And that, I think, that works perfectly fine, but they kind of fall into that sort of, I'd almost say they fall into gender roles, which again, considering this was written in 2002, I think it's a deliberate effort by the writer to channel the Hartnell era thoughts,
Maybe.
perhaps. And I think it was a deliberate idea to make
Well, I mean,
Ben a little bit racist, make Polly sort of not damsel in distress, but sort of very much a femme character who sort of sits back and provides that emotional.
A more girly girl who's more into her emotions, but also knows how to dress well.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I think Paul and Ben stand out as characters more than the Doctor in the story, at least.
To me, he's always come across as a grandfather who's got no time for stupid.
Well, yeah. But also, yeah. It all depends how you read the character, but yes.
How do you think that the mystery plot comes across?
Yeah, as for the mystery plot, it surrounds, I thought it was a good initial layout. It was building fairly well. I like how some of the reveals happen. But the ending struck me as a bit odd, let's say. And I think that dampened how I think of the mystery involved.
I would agree. That ending is a bit of a sort of where the hell did that come from element that I think could have been set up a little bit earlier.
Yes, I think it could have been set up a bit earlier, but also some things that go on. I won't spoil. I'll go into spoilers. But I wasn't overall happy with the end of how it sort of played out. So, what was your thinking of some of the other characters, the new characters in this, like the soldiers added?
There's only a few notable ones. For instance, Haunt, Shade, Frog, to name three of them.
Yeah.
I think the others don't come above the level of acquaintance sort of side character. And even then, I think Shade is a character that's had potential, and then it almost seemed like the author sort of discarded him.
Yeah. I mean, could you learn the backstories of all three of them, I believe? Yeah. Or like some of the backstories.
Yeah, they are more fleshed out than any others. Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like he was building to something and then forgot he existed.
Yeah. It was a weird sort of, okay, that happened.
Yeah.
Okay. But then again, I mean, that's the point of the book where sort of then Frog takes on a much more prominent role. And I got to admit, I found her quite the sympathetic character, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think she's
quite liked her
she's
journey.
made out to be as sympathetic as possible.
Would you say there's any deeper themes? Because I have an idea.
I mean, you could say, about making peace instead of war, but
there is an element of that. Bearing in mind that this book was written in the aftermath of 9/11, and there's an almost direct parallel you can make between the Shia, the aliens, them being identified as intergalactic terrorists who have performed atrocities and have led the human empire to war.
And there's a list of 10 of them.
Yes. And the comparisons are very, very direct. And I think the author did actually mention that in the foreword, that it was written obviously during that time. And there is a little bit of an element of give peace a chance by the end of the
Yeah.
the narrative.
I mean, because the initial, as he said in the forward, the initial outline was Agatha Christie meets
Starship
Starship
Troopers.
Troopers. Honestly, I think on that, he failed. But he wrote, because of like events, he wrote a different story.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it felt Agatha Christie enough. Maybe in the initial setup, and like he uses like a thing out of like, and then there were none.
It alludes.
Yes. As for the Starship Troopers one, other than men in generic military stuff, it's okay.
I mean, I got to admit, I was wondering whether it was the Heinlein Starship Troopers or whether it was the the Starship Troopers Verhoeven film.
Yes.
Which again, I have used the footage for that so many bloody times, and here it is again.
Would you like to know more?
But yeah, it all depends on what you read into and what you get out of it.
Mm.
But yeah, I think we'll go on to recommendations.
Yep.
So, would you recommend this?
This is a very middle of the road book for me. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't dissuade someone from reading it,
Yeah.
but I find it a little less than a recommendation for me.
I mean, for me, I would say if you're a Doctor Who fan and you like the first Doctor, you know, there's not many stories you can pick up. So, by all means, it's kind of worth at least one read. If I was being critical, I would say it's a bit of a nothing sandwich.
Hmm.
It's, you finished it and it's like, okay, I guess I read the story because it's there in front of me,
Exactly.
but I don't feel sated in any way.
It's a McDonald's.
Yes, but with less salt. But yeah, so overall, I would say it's a okay. I would say meh, but again, if you,
I mean, we don't
you're
always have to
interested in
agree.
it, yeah, I know, I know, but it's a meh.
Yeah.
It's, you know, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, unless you want to add anything to it.
I mean, despite what we've said here, guys, if you still want to pick it up, there's Kindle versions available, and of course, paperbacks, I believe. I think this was reprinted not too long ago in,
Yes.
I say not too long ago, 2013, so we're looking on a decade.
Oh, yeah.
Duh.
I mean, it was only printed in like 2002, so.
But I mean, this one is the 50th year anniversary edition, which you can obviously see there. Same cover.
Yeah. So, thanks again for joining us. Next week we'll be doing a spoiler review of this book. If you don't join us then, join us in a fortnight's time for another review of a completely new book. Bye.
Bye.
Barley and Ben, Barley and Ben, jogging along on the old TARDIS.
You as well.
Anyway, so, book.
Ah!